Fam, what's good? We got a special guest. I think, since Arsenal's doing well, we get these guys, they just come in. We got Sandile,
No,
our resident, one of our first residents, and he's back. I don't want to say his nickname, I'll say it at the end, and then you guys will remember. Sandile, welcome back, bro. It's so good to have you.
we have history, man. We have history. Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. Glad to be back. I had to go and slaughter a couple of goats on top of Arsenal players, sort everything out.
Thank you.
Now we actually
Thank you. They don't know how multicultural team they are. We're all doing our part here. I'm fasting. You're slaughtering goats.
Hey, man.
It's working.
Whatever's going to help Arsenal win.
Yeah. But we'll get into it. 4-0, bro. Norwich win at home. First match at home after the restart, Very great to be home. So I just like to we'll just go and unpack the match. I'm just going to let you press play because I don't really need to ask you any questions. I'm sure you got your answers down. But how are you feeling from lineup first half, the 2 goals, going into second half, and those 2 goals, and then obviously finishing off the game, strong. So maybe you can just kick off and let us know.
Cool. So I think one of the first things that I noticed in this game, we actually started off with a whole lot more energy than we've been playing with in the past couple of weeks. I don't know if that's because we are playing at home and maybe they're traveling from all the different teams that we've been playing against, it just took a couple of things away from us. But coming back at home, we actually exerted our dominance. We were very dominant in the opening spell, and we actually deserved to be 2 goals up at halftime. The one thing that I was worried about was Kolasinac playing at left centre back. I know he played there in the last game as well, and he made that one mistake that kind of cost us the goal. Yeah, but I think overall it was a decent lineup. I was happy to see Lacazette again getting a second start in a row. I think that will do his confidence quite a bit. Nketiah is really like knocking on his heels now. And if the guy's not scoring goals, Nketiah is showing that, I'm here. If you guys need goals, I'm here. And I think first half, Ceballos absolutely bossed the midfield with Xhaka. That pivot over there was exceptional in the first half. We were pressing them again, leading to the mistake from Tim Krul. Aubameyang doing the same thing that Nketiah did just the other day. And it's the second time. I think he did it against, was it Watford or some other team, where he actually charged down the goalkeeper to get that goal. Yeah, and so now that's up 51 goals for him now, 51 gifts that he's given to Arsenal. So, super, super happy with the first half. I think second half, obviously Norwich made a couple of changes and they maybe got us off guard a bit, but they started playing well and we were actually able to ride it pretty well as well. That was good to see the guys actually getting stuck in and making sure that we're not conceding a goal from in that period. But I think after that, we started taking control of the game again. We got the 3rd goal, and I think their heads just dropped. They made it easy for the remainder of the game. And I think Suarez coming in a couple of minutes, getting his first goal as well. That was good. And what I noticed about him, man, is that he seems to have a good cross on him. I think Bellerin can actually learn he's both feet, exactly. So a couple with the left, a couple with the right. He scored his goal with his left foot as well. So, that's from versatility. And then we've also got David Beckham playing at left wing back, man, because that kid Tierney, every single cross on point. And he's not just crossing for the sake of putting the ball in the box. He's actually looking up. And if there's nobody there, there's a back, So we obviously don't want to guess Suarez up too much. We only saw 15 minutes of him. But it is promising. And I consider today there were actually 2 victories for us. I'm saying that there's 4 victories on a row because that signing of Saka as well on a long-term deal, bro. That's absolutely big.
We did so well and we rested the boy. You know what I mean? And
exactly. Yeah, the competition then for places. I mean, we've been playing a lot of our young kids, and and I think one of the guys that's actually been getting a lot of criticism was Willock. And I mean the guys too. You expect him to make a couple of mistakes. None of these kids, in my opinion, should be playing at the level that they're playing with. Same with Guendouzi. You know, they're gonna make mistakes, and Keita's gonna make even Saka. You know, he's got everything's going good for him now. But one of these games, he might have a bad game or two. But the fans shouldn't actually be getting on the back of these kids, man. The people that we really should be getting on the back of when they're having bad games are your Xhakas and our defenders. You know, but yeah, interesting tactics in the last two games, going with the back three. And I think it just goes to show how desperate Arteta is for a left-footed defender, that he actually plays Kolasinac in that position. You know, I would have thought that Tierney might play at the left-sided centre back, because I think he's played there before, and I think he's just a bit of a more accomplished defender than Kolasinac is. But yeah, man, I think, and again, Socrates, I think the writing's on the wall for him now. The fact that we have to play somebody who is a left back at centre, even though, you know, he's fit and he's ready to go, the writing's on the wall for him. And yeah, look, I'm happy, man. I think Arteta's doing a great job, and I'm happy with the way the squad is actually developing. Obviously, there is quite a few holes that we need to fill, and he's not going to turn some of the players that we have into world beaters in 6 months, and some he'll never actually turn into world beaters. But I'm happy with the guys that he's bringing in, the young players that are coming through. And yeah, you know, they're really putting their hand up, you know. So yeah, it's been good to watch. It's been good to watch, especially today.
Yeah, no, the kids are doing something, and you are right to say that we shouldn't overly criticize them because they are coming up from our academy. And to be honest, we thought it would be a different year, but it didn't work out. And I think the light that shone through is these kids, like even Martinelli, even though he didn't come up through our academy, but you know, it's these youngsters that are actually, I think, maybe putting the heat on these older guys. You know, it's a pity we don't have center backs that are going to come. Well, we do have, but you know, they can actually.
Yeah, you've got some.
And I love that you said tyranny. I don't know what he drank or what he had in that checkers packet, you know, there. But you know, what I liked about him, he's come back stronger. Like he's ready to prove a point. Because Kolasinac, to be fair, it's not like we missed tyranny. It's like we missed him. Now we can say we missed him because we can see what he brings. But Kolasinac did fill his role quite well. I think the other thing is Kolasinac just too like much of a tyranny. Like, oh, I just want to run, and like you could see sometimes he just stops. He's like, wait, I need to pass here. I can't just run. So I think he'll get there. I think his strength will make him a perfect third centre back. But he's thinking he lacks it. He's too on the offensive, you know. And you're right, tyranny, swap with tyranny will be better, but you won't get those deliveries, you know. You won't get those.
Exactly.
I don't know. And the one thing I wanted to ask was that Xhaka goal. Was a crazy bit of play, you know. How did you feel? You know, Xhaka's been under criticism for quite some time. Do you think like is this the reward he needed? Even that play, even David Luiz pass, Aubameyang assist, you know, was that kind of a, I know it's just one play, but it's kind of a reopening, a reinvention into Arsenal. As you said, we came up with some pace. Before that, we had like how many 4 chances that should have been goals, but then the sloppy goal capitalized, and then that goal, the Xhaka goal, which for me it wasn't. I don't know. I'm torn between Suarez and that goal for the best goal because coming on and scoring like that, you know, and then his movement from the wing in back to the wing, back down. I like to see that because Bellerin also don't like to criticize him because he did us good, but still, you know, he was a bit off today. I'll just say that he was a bit off, and you know. So back to the Xhaka goal, like is that like a kind of play that you can see that we missed with him, or were you surprised to see something like that, or were you just happy that he scored?
No, I was actually surprised, man. I mean, if you think of Xhaka, you think of long range shots, right? And that's kind of become his trademark. That's how he scores. So for him to actually get in the box, I would expect somebody like Ceballos perhaps to have pushed that far forward. You know, in case something does happen, you'd expect Xhaka to be our furthest midfielder, you know. So yeah, it was actually surprising to actually see him getting in the box and finishing like that. It was a good finish as well. But yeah, I was very surprised, and I think you're right. I mean, that Xhaka goal for me was the goal of the day. Just because as much I think Suarez we're getting gassed because it was his first performance, and then boom, suddenly goal, you know, weaker foot. It was a good goal, but I think overall the team play that was involved in that Xhaka goal, the long ball to Aubameyang, the control and the sliding in there for Xhaka to actually finish. And yeah, man, I think with Xhaka, yeah, something must have just clicked in his head when Arteta. I don't know what Arteta said to him when he came in, but he's been playing very well, and I think we've actually missed him on the games where he hasn't been there. It's been very obvious that Xhaka shaped hole that's in our midfield. I still don't think he's suddenly the greatest midfielder for Arsenal. We definitely need an upgrade on him.
Yeah.
But for his job that he actually needs to do right now, and I mean, all the best to him and kudos to him for actually stepping up and showing that he does have that leadership potential. And I think even with David Luiz, yes, he made a couple of mistakes against this for City, and it was costly, like absolutely costly. But I think if you actually look at it over time, and not just that game in isolation, he's actually been doing pretty okay.
And it feels like he's more comfortable in a back three than the back two.
Yeah, I think he definitely looks better. I think there isn't as much pressure on him from the opposition players, perhaps. So he's actually able to look up and pick his passes better because he's got two supporting right next to him. So I think it has worked out for him. So now I don't know if Arteta's just switched to a back three to accommodate that for David Luiz, or is that something that we can expect to see going into next season as well? So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
And then going into the second half, like as you said, and I like that you said that we did get put under pressure. They came out a bit harder than us. They made those 3 subs, which I felt made a big difference to their team. They were moving the ball a lot faster. A lot of people were like, "Yo, what are we doing? We're not playing well." It looked a bit messy, but you could see the kind of effect that we were just trying to absorb and then try to push their mistakes, try to get behind the ball, make the tackles where we could. There were chances where they could have scored, or it was a bit, they were taking a long range shots. Don't get me wrong. Look, at the end of the match, you are facing us. At the end of the day, when you are facing Arsenal, you're going to take shots. We can expect that. But I think the off the ball work by these guys when they were trying to make, when Norwich had that, but 15 minutes of good possession that they had, I was really impressed by it. And I think that going to the future, it's something that it looks like we can hold, because after that, once the pressure released, we were able to get into our momentum, and then the third goal, and then the fourth goal, and then see the game out. So, and then leading into that question, are you happy with the decisiveness of Arteta? Mustafi off first half, going into the second half. Then you can see these 15 minutes of play. Then he brings on Willock and I forget who else. He brought on I think, no, it wasn't Pepe. But
Pepe came in look. Was it Pepe? I can't remember.
I also can't remember.
But yeah, look, I think exactly. I mean, he saw that we were actually losing a bit of control of the game, and yeah, he decided to put on a midfielder, and I just thought there that he's just saying Bellerin must take that wing, that whole right side belongs to him, and must bomb up and down there, and we just need to keep it neat and steady in the center of the park, and actually try and get better control of the game, because I think we were starting to lose it a little bit. They were on the front foot, but as you said, I think we were credit to the players as well. Even though Norwich had bulk of the possession, they weren't really doing anything. I think Martinez probably had one in that spell where they were pressing us. But I mean, other than that, there wasn't really, and that was from a free kick, if I'm not mistaken. So again, they had the possession, but they were not really doing anything with it. They looked, it was quick, it was good to see, and as Arsenal fans, naturally we get a little bit worried when we start getting put under pressure. And I think we actually handled it pretty well. It was impressive that we actually absorbed that pressure. I thought with a little bit of composure, we could have actually taken advantage of that, because I think they were pushing players forward, and instead of us actually playing through our midfield and using Xhaka's passing range, we were actually panicking and just kicking the ball upfield, and then it was just coming back again, But yeah, I think we actually handled the pressure pretty well.
No, yeah, that's one thing I think we lacked of, and I think you can see it by what Arteta's trying to do. But you are right. I think maybe they were just like clearing it upfield for them is safe, instead of playing down the center, because But I think that's a big part. We need to work on that area, playing down the center. I think we're not utilizing that a hell of a lot. Crap, I had one more question and I forget, but it's fine. We'll get back to it. But going back to that, we absorbed that pressure quite well, and then obviously it was good to see. And then what was your take on like Bellerin for you and his performance down the right hand side? How were you feeling? Like, I know for me he wasn't the best, but it's nice to see how you felt, because we did speak about it, and he didn't look like he used him as an inverted today. He looks like he tried to play with Nelson, and I think it could have worked because Nelson got the pace and he ran, so he could have supported Bellerin a lot more. And you can just wrap on about that before I ask you two specific questions.
All right. I mean, look, I think when we had that discussion earlier around the positioning, or what I mentioned about the positioning of Bellerin playing as an inverted fullback, it didn't give Pepe a lot of support. Today, yes, he did play more as a natural wing back, but I think at the same time, when you have him as playing wing back with somebody who's naturally right-footed, like Nelson, who naturally wants to hug the touchline as well and get those crosses in, there's always going to be a bit of a clash between the two of them. Like, how far can Bellerin push up before he actually starts imposing himself in the area that perhaps Nelson should be occupying, I don't think I think since his injury, he hasn't come back the same. I don't think he's as quick as he used to be. There's a lot of delays in some of the actions that he makes. What I noticed with Suarez when he came on, he's just the obvious comparison that we're going to have. But when Suarez came, when he was getting the ball, like even same time crosses into the box, you know what I mean? Whereas with Bellerin, he'll want to take the touch, take a man, fake one way, fake another, put it on his left foot, which is not his strongest, and then he just doesn't really know what to do with the ball. He's not very decisive in the final third. Defensively, he's never really been the best defender in the world, but so I think that's been lacking a little bit as well. And I think perhaps maybe Suarez is actually going to put him under pressure now. I think Niles did a good job covering in for him, but he is a midfielder. Maybe Bellerin wasn't feeling too threatened with Niles coming on for him. But I think with Suarez, who's naturally a right back, he might now start thinking, okay, cool, I need to pull my socks up. Otherwise, there's no guarantee for me to actually.
For me, it's just sad, like, Bellerin dropped like this. Because for me, like, when you were talking about the inverts, I realized it, but I didn't realize that's what it was called. But anyway, so when he played, I got that. And I love the fact that you can use that and cover your deep and allow Pepe to run, whoever's on your right, to run up, and then you got your midfield, and you're never going to get caught out of position. I think that was because of his lack of pace. But for me, it's just that when he was like 3 years ago, 4 years, when he used to bullet down the wing, and for me, it's just sad that he doesn't have that pace. But then it looked like he doesn't have the cross at the same time now, because you saw towards the corner lines, he was a bit lackluster. Maybe he's tired, or maybe the foot. I don't know. I don't want to really criticize him too much. It's just, for me, it's just sad, and I get what you mean, and it's 100%. And I think maybe Arteta is just gonna try to utilize him in that way. And with Suarez and Maitland-Niles there, I think if it's a slower game, maybe a stronger team and a less like an Inter Milan back in the day, where they're a lot slower on the ball, slow moving the ball. I think Bellerin will thrive, but I don't know, right? So it's so sad to be like, hey, this guy's like done, bruh. Like, hey, I don't know. That injury really tore him apart, and it's just really sad.
I think so, man. And I don't know if this diet is playing a role, because I think he's gone vegan. As well. Maybe there's a bit of that as well. I know. I think I'd read somewhere that the doctors are having to work.
Let's not speak bad about vegans.
Hey, vegan lives matter, man. Vegan lives matter.
So the question I actually wanted to ask you was, I think the unsung hero, and even though Ceballos played really well, Tierney, but Martinez, man, like the stops that he pulled off, those two top corners, he gets down low and when he's in trouble, he clears. I think, you know, we all knew he has the touch of class, but yeah, how are you feeling about his performance
No,
today?
look, I think he is an experienced keeper, right? He's been around, you know, he's been at Arsenal for a while, but going out on loan. So I think, again, when he came on, when Leno got injured initially, there wasn't too much of a worry because I think he has played a couple of games in the Europa League, and, you know, and he's looked pretty good. And at some stage, I was like, okay, this guy is actually going to be challenging Leno. He's not just a backup keeper, but he's actually a guy that can. And yeah, I mean, he pulled up some good saves. I think even in the FA Cup, in the last game we played, he actually saved us some flashes there. Just after who were we playing? I've even forgotten who we were playing. It doesn't even matter, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
We got down low a few times, very fast.
Exactly, and I mean his distribution, and he's very decisive as well. Like when he gets the ball, he looks up. He doesn't hesitate. If he sees that there's potential, up, you know. If he feels perhaps that the defense is under pressure, he'll tell them to go forward and push up, and he'll just
what I
kick
liked
it.
about it, as you said, is distribution. Leno, for me, when he got the ball, you know, in like a crazy situation, he gets the ball. All the forwards are in the box. Leno just doesn't release. He'll just wait, calm everything down. And I feel Martinez, he's the type of dude that just release in that whole commotion, set the guy off, and it's quite useful there. I think we missed it, but when you see him do it, it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, so to your point exactly. I mean, that pass that he played for Aubameyang in the FA Cup, you know, it wasn't just unfortunate, he was unable to finish. But you know that distribution, he looked up, he saw, okay, cool, there's space. Let me play the ball quickly, and you know, and the really nice thing about it is, let's take Bellerin for example. Last season, you would have thought, okay, he is the first name on the team sheet. He is a starter when fit. But right now, we're looking at it as like, we can actually do without Bellerin.
Number 3.
Exactly. You know, and now we're looking, Leno has been our player of the season, along with Aubameyang, and now Martinez is there, and we're like, you know what? Okay, Martinez might actually have some aspects of his game that are better than Leno. You know, so we look at all these things and all these options that we might be having going forward. That we're like, okay, we actually have a pretty decent squad. A few things here and there. Obviously, our centre back needs like a lot of work. But you look at the other areas, even the young guys that are coming through, as we mentioned earlier, they also just like, okay, cool. Like having this guy on the bench coming in, they might be able to change games for us. They might be able to come in and actually win games for us. You know. So yeah, I think that's been the positive for me again.
Yeah, the options thing is a very big positive, eh? Because I think it comes with options and combinations. Because I remember when we had that Bellerin chat, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, just think about the combinations that you can have of this Bellerin and Maitland-Niles in terms of a coach and your tactics. You know, inverted or this or that. You know what I mean? And I think now Suarez, knowing that he can take that shot on his left, and it's actually quite decent. You can expect your wingback to track in and take shots. You know, it's not, and maybe Pepe stays the line, or you know, whatever. We just like. But I think right there, it's like, when have we ever said something like that? Like, we have two decent right backs and one that's coming back to form. We have one left back that is phenomenal, another one that's playing centre back, but it's actually a really good left back, and a kid that just signed that can play anywhere, bruh. Like, I don't know where it's like maybe not goalkeeper, you know. It's just like,
no, I think if Martinez gets injured, I think we should actually try Saka in goal. Like, the kid can do no wrong.
I
probably still get.
Did you see that Arsenal video of his plays? The Arsenal posted about him, like.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, yo, bro, it's just it's so crazy. But yeah. Sorry.
You look at it on our left hand side, right? So we've got Tierney. Obviously, he's going to be the first choice left back. And then if you look down the left, we've got Aubameyang who's playing there. Naturally, he's a striker, but he's been doing very well coming from the left. And you've got Saka there as well. You've got Martinelli who can play there. And yes, they are kids, but you think like, okay, the options that we've got there now.
Martinelli's not a kid. They were like 15 years experience. Saying the way he busted against Chelsea, you're like, wait, what? Brazil, bro. And the link up between Martinelli and Saka, for me, is probably one of the best link ups I've seen this season. Okay, obviously now we're not going to see it for a while, but when those boys like connected, they synced, and they just found each other. It's very promising, and I think like if we're looking at it from a perspective, like we know the season's gone, we know what's happening, but these, and then that was going to lead to my next question to you. But before we get there, the season's done, but these are, I think, for me, the shining lights has been Saka. Like in the whole season, he's been great. Even Leno and Martinelli. And I think going into the next season, or going forward, if we do strengthen, which I think Arteta has brought out a lot more out of the players, and if he adds to that, we could have a, yeah, I don't want to say it. You know what I want to say? What I don't want to say. We could have a decent squad to contend with, but I think there's signs here and fight. I think what we lost was the fight, and I think Arteta brought that back. Fight and passion for the badge, and I think that's what we missed with Emery. It felt like these guys just played. There wasn't like against Brighton we were angry and stuff, but we could see that it was more disappointing to them than anything else, and we didn't see that kind of loss. And then we could see today being at home what it means to play at the Emirates, and stuff like that. So before we run up, sorry. For me, just if you can give me just your man of the match, you already said which goal you liked. Are you gonna stick with the Xhaka goal?
Yeah, for me, definitely the Xhaka goal, just because of yeah, definitely.
Just because it's Xhaka, you don't score two. and one bad or one negative you can take out of the game, because as well as we do, I think we can always get better, and it's always nice to keep us humble with a few negatives that we can improve on. So yeah, if you don't mind.
Look, we obviously not going to talk about the centre backs, because we know already that we need a lot of work there. So the only, perhaps the two negatives that I'd say I picked up is that Lacazette didn't score. I think he had a couple of chances where he might have been able to find the back of the net, and perhaps the performance of Bellerin as well could have done a little bit better. And then I think perhaps how we actually started in the second half. Yes, we might have been able to absorb the pressure, but we shouldn't have been in a situation where we had to in the first place. But I do understand that there was tactical changes from Norwich, that might have caught us off guard a bit. We reacted to that, but yeah, I mean, fair play to them. But yeah, those were, I'd say, my negatives.
And your man of the match?
Man of the match, there's a couple of candidates, but I think obviously the most obvious one is Aubameyang. 2 goals and an assist. You can't really ask for more. But as I said, I think Tierney played well. I think Ceballos played well. Xhaka played well. So there's a couple of the guys. I think that partnership of Xhaka and Ceballos is really starting to take off. Maybe the goal that Ceballos actually scored in the FA Cup gave him the confidence, and now he seems to be pushing a whole lot more forward. And
is that why he came on to Guna Cast? Because you saw that goal and you're like, yeah, this means something. When last have you scored in added time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
no, that's proper.
So obviously, like the next 5 games are insane. So we got Wolves, Liverpool, Tottenham, Leicester, City. I think Villa, we hit with Villa, or Watford. But my question to you is, okay, we know it's not going to be a good season. We maybe know Champions League, maybe know Europa. We're still in FA Cup. These next games, do you think it's time for him to see that he can play with these boys? Like, show, like, everything out the window. Let's just go out and do what we can against these next 5, because they're the 5 big teams. 6 big teams. We only start playing United, Chelsea, and City, but these guys are pretty much all ahead of us. So how do you think we should approach this as Arsenal, as a team, as a coach?
Yeah, look, I think because of the way Arteta's actually set Arsenal up now, the attitude has actually changed. Previously I'd be like, okay, cool, the season's written off, whatever. Let's just go and rotate the squad and and see what happens, see what the younger boys can actually do. This time around, I'm actually thinking, let's actually go for it. Why not? It's if we actually take away points from these teams, if we get points from the Wolves game, the Leicester game, who I think lost as well today. I know at halftime they were 2-0 down. Yeah, I think so. They were 2-0 down at halftime. So they are actually struggling since the restart. So why not actually go and take points from Leicester? If we can get points from Wolves as well and Tottenham, then those are the teams that are like 3-4 points ahead of us.
Yeah.
So if we're taking points away from them, it becomes a 6. So by all means, the chance for us to actually go in Europe is still there. Champions League might be too far because I think Man United are playing very well. Chelsea are playing well, and obviously City and Liverpool kind of guaranteed for the first 2 spots.
Yeah.
But the other teams, I mean, it's fair game. I think we should go there with the attitude that we actually want to win, and put our strongest side out there, whatever that is these days with all the kids that are coming through and playing, Yeah, definitely.
I can't predict the lineup.
It's actually quite insane. I can't predict the lineup.
Even his tactic, I can't figure it out.
Exactly. You don't even know what formation you're going to be playing these days. So maybe that's going to keep the other teams guessing as well. Like what Arsenal is actually going to show up. So it might play to our advantage, but I definitely think we should actually just go out there and go for the win, man, for all these games.
And then for your last 2 questions, your prediction for both? Do you have a prediction? How are you feeling? Saturday, I think it's Saturday. Are you not one for prediction?
Yeah. Look, you know what? I think we might be able to make a point. I don't want to be too optimistic as much as we are playing well. I would have actually liked to see Tierney get a bit of a rest for the game because, they got what's that animal that they've got at Wolves, man?
Traore.
Adama Traore. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I was actually thinking,
who's going to mark that dude? It has to be Kolasinac.
Sorry?
Who's going to mark that dude?
Exactly, you know what I mean? So you would have needed a rested Tierney to actually go and mark that guy.
Yeah.
And they're playing well. They've been doing very well this season. But I think the momentum, the three wins in a row for us, the confidence is coming back. We're actually starting to play well. I think we might be able to get a point. And if we can do that, then the next couple of games, the whole season could change for us now.
Yeah.
But I think the next 4 or 5 games are make or break. So we could easily make Europa League, and at the same time we could easily finish in the bottom half of the table. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks. It's one of those weeks, and you know what? It always favors us in the past, where it's a tight week and we always come up on top. So let's hope it does. And just to round it up, man, how are you feeling? I think we haven't spoken about Arteta. How are you feeling? Are you liking what you're seeing? Are you surprised he's still doing so well?
You know what? I'm actually not surprised. I think for me, when Emery got the sack, I know people were mentioning Ancelotti and all these other top-notch coaches, and I was like, okay, well, we've got a young squad. Let's get somebody who's actually going to come in, who's still fresh. He's got new ideas, and he's also been the club captain. I've always been pro Arteta since Unai Emery got the sack,
Okay.
And because I just figured, it can't really get any worse than what it is, and I don't. That's the truth, man. And you could bring in the best manager in the world, the best coach in the world. With the squad that we had, it was always going to be difficult for anybody, to kind of come in. And so this way, I figured Arteta, because he's a former club captain, I wouldn't call him a legend, but he will have that little bit of a leeway with some of the players. Look what he was able to get out of Ozil. He made Ozil an important player again. And I think just Ozil didn't quite live up to expectation. Yes, he scored a goal and was able to create, as some of the Ozil fanboys say, but there wasn't really anything there. There was no assist. There was no regular positive play from there. So and again, he's just taken him off. Guendouzi, his attitude was bad. Takes him off. Pepe wasn't playing well or wasn't tracking back enough. He pulled him off for a couple of games. Lacazette isn't playing well. Fine, I'll throw in Nketiah, the kid, and see how he does. Like, nobody's position is actually safe. Probably bar Aubameyang, and again, so that's been impressive. So
are you happy with that kind of mentality that he comes with? You know what I mean? Like that kind of
I am.
To control the dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the senior players, especially, it was a wake-up call for them as well. Like, okay, yes, I might be worth 40, 50 million, but but the coach doesn't care. If I'm not pulling my weight, he's going to take me off. If my attitude in training isn't right, then I'm not going to play. So and it's a wake-up call. I think they were sleeping, and yeah, we needed that energy. And yeah, so I've been very impressed so far. Can't wait for next season, actually.
Yeah, no, well, it's gonna start just now, bro. I don't even know when. It's like we end and we're like, okay, a week transfer window and we done. Well, just to wrap it up, bro, and I really appreciate you coming out after so long. I know you're a huge football fan, and as we spoke earlier, you're a South African fan and stuff. So I think maybe this question is quite valid for you. How's the whole no fans kind of thing, with the stadium and stuff? Just a general question, as a football lover, and and you can see it from a big team, small team perspective, what the fan encouragement does, and is this a new look football, or is this now we're gonna have like a half stadium vibe? So, but yeah, just let us know how you feel as a football fan and critique.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think from somebody watching on TV, it's not too bad because at least you've got the fan crowd, the fan noises there, and all of that. But I'm sure for the players, I mean, if you're playing at the Emirates or some of the or Liverpool, for example, or Man United, where they've got big supporters, they've got huge stands where people are just singing the entire time, and that actually adds the pressure to the opposition team. Or it was the Champions League. I'm trying to remember which game it was for Liverpool. I think they were playing. No, it was last season, I think.
Oh,
but the reception, it was. I think it was. I can't remember the game. But the reception,
crazy, like the whole stadium was just singing. Yeah.
That intimidation is no longer there, and perhaps the away teams might feel a little bit more comfortable going there. But I think for Arsenal, it's worked out because we, as fans, we do have a tendency of getting off our players' backs way too early in the game, and especially if it's a player that we didn't like. They make one mistake, and we are going to be pulling them for the game. You know what I mean? And that obviously just takes the confidence away. And yeah, so maybe they play with a little bit more freedom now that the virtual sounds are there, and they just supporting them throughout the game, whether they're messing up or not, So yeah, I think it's been a positive for both sides, both home and away. But yeah, obviously football without fans, I mean, like,
Yeah,
it doesn't make
different. Yeah, I heard you can watch with the fan sounds and without. And if you watch without the fan sounds, like it's like playing indoor, bro. Like, you like hear the ball hit the back, you hear like there was one match I watched where Leno got hurt, and the way he screamed, like you could hear it. Like normally you wouldn't hear it like that. And I was like, you are like, is that so? I was like, I wanted to like run there and go help him because it sounded like so bad. And I was like, yo. So I think it takes getting used to. Look, we're not going to complain. Football's back. I just, it's just cool to talk about because we're in unexpected times. And if this is the way football's going to be for, but hopefully it ends soon. We're gonna have to get used to it. I think maybe for you, because you stopped coming to the fan club, you're used to watching at home.
I predicted this and I started social distancing a long time ago, bro.
I was telling guys, like, IT guys we already, because I'm in ICM, like, we already social distance as normal. We like to be at home. We only go out when we want to. You know what I mean? So it's like, just follow us as a base and you'll be safe. Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. Mr. Banter FC is back. I'm so happy
FC.
to hear you back. It was really a good chat, bro. Hope to see you again, maybe Saturday. But yeah, welcome back.
Of course, definitely.
And Gunakas SA 4-0, 4 goals to the Arsenal. We're back and we're out for now. Sandile, thanks again. Have a good evening.
No worries, my guy. All right, cheers.